But at least you have step one, which is if you don't have ownership, you're probably never going to be free financially. You got to get some skin in the game. That doesn't mean that you have to become an entrepreneur. It's really hard to do that. It sucks many days. You know this very well. There's Fridays when you're never going to make payroll, and that is like a deep, terrible, dark hurt, actually. But if you realize ownership is the name of the game, then you should probably obsess on one thing more than anything else, which is learn the language of money. And back when I was young, I was a journalist originally, made $0. And I realized that I had no idea why I had opportunities and ability to make some money. And let's say the women I was covering at the time in Juarez, who are, they call it La Ciudad de Muerte, right? The city of death, which is where women are mutilated and raped and brutalized and found murdered all over the city every single day, thousands of women a year. There were many that had the last name Sanchez. My last name happens to be Sanchez. I was like, what's the difference between us? Is it that I'm American? No, that's not it alone. I think it's also that I had some financial tools, and like money is a pushback against other people's architecture of your life. And it makes people care about you one way or the other, which is sad. But the truth of the matter is, if you are poor, you have no power. And anybody who's been poor before knows that is true. You got to go where the game is played. So the first thing I tell you is if you don't have any cash, you need to find a way to figure out how to speak the language of money. And that probably means you maybe go work in finance like I did. You get with a company that has smart leaders like Jay, where you can actually go and learn from them. And you obsess on, can I become fluent in the thing that nobody talks about in the US, because money is supposed to be the root of all evil.
Yeah, you shared a statistic with me that I thought was mind-blowing, that 62% of Americans don't want to talk about money.
Yeah.
That is so scary, but it's also not surprising because, like you just said, we've created this narrative that money is the root of all evil. And it was so fascinating because someone actually said this to me, where if you look up the actual reference, it says love of money is the root of all evil.
I never knew that.
Yeah.
How did we, I mean, I do wonder sometimes, how do we get programmed these ways? Because if you think about it, it's like, what are the three things you're not supposed to talk about? Politics, religion, money. Now, politics and religion, maybe I could understand. You could offend somebody. I believe this religion, you believe this political slant. And if we could collide, that could be bad. But when it comes to money, who's like, no, I wish everybody was poor. Like, why wouldn't we be able to talk about it? And the only thing that I can determine from that is that every time we get a little bit more ownership, a little bit more money, we become harder to control. And when you're harder to control, big institutions and largely our governments, they don't like that.